Good evening, you're watching AWANI Tonight with me, Farhana Sheikh. The federal court dismissed Dato' Seri Najib Razak's preliminary objection to the government's request to appeal his challenge over royal addendum order. The three-member panel unanimously reached the decision after hearing submissions from both parties today.
The panel will proceed to hear the application for leave to appeal, where the Attorney General will argue why the case should be fully heard on its merits. Senior lawyer Tan Sri Muhammad Shafi Abdullah appeared for the former Prime Minister. Najib claimed that a royal addendum allowed him to serve the remainder of his jail term under house arrest. He is seeking a mandamus order compelling the respondents to confirm and disclose the existence of the alleged document dated January 29, 2024. Najib is currently serving a 6-year prison sentence after being convicted of misappropriating 42 million ringgit from SRC International Sendirian Berhad.
Malaysia plans to tighten regulations on semiconductors under pressure from the US, says Investment, Trade and Industry Minister Tengku Dato' Sri Zafrul Abdul Aziz. In an interview with the Financial Times, he says Washington has asked Malaysia to track the movement of high-end NVIDIA chips entering the country on suspicions that many are ending up in China.
Zafrul was quoted as saying that Malaysia was asked to monitor every shipment coming into the country involving NVIDIA chips. This was to ensure that servers end up in their designated data centers and do not violate US export rules. The minister's remarks come after Singapore's prosecution of firms accused of fraudulently supplying US servers to Malaysia in transactions worth 1.7 billion ringgit. Singapore media reports have linked the case to Chinese artificial intelligence firm DeepSeek. While US authorities believe the NVIDIA chips passed through Malaysia before reaching China, Zafrul said their own investigation found no evidence that the chips arrived at the Malaysian data center to which they were purportedly sold.
The loan agreement for 2 giant pandas at Zoo Negara has been extended between China and Malaysia. Natural Resources and Environmental Sustainability Minister Nik Nazmini Ahmad says this applies to the existing pandas, Fuwa and Feng Yi, renamed Sing Sing and Yang Yang.
The 2 giant pandas were originally loaned from China to Malaysia in May 2014 to commemorate the 40th anniversary of Malaysia-China diplomatic relations. They have since had 3 offspring, Nuan Nuan born in 2015, Yi Yi in 2018 and Sheng Yi in 2021. As part of the agreement, all 3 panda cubs have been returned to China. Zoo Negara was previously recognized by the Chinese government as one of the world's best caretakers of giant pandas.
Bank Negara Malaysia is calling for mandatory price displays for medications and common healthcare services to combat rising medical inflation and excessive charges. This move aims to improve price transparency, allowing patients and insurers to compare costs across providers and protect consumers. Starting May 1st, general practitioner clinics must publicly display drug prices. Other than that, BNM is also proposing standardized treatment fees through a diagnosis-related groups DRG system, setting fixed prices for medical procedures. A national medical inflation monitoring system is also in the works to track price trends and strengthen regulatory oversights of private hospitals. Bank Negara Malaysia has forecast the economy to grow between 4.5% and 5.5% this year. The growth is driven by sustained domestic demand despite heightened external uncertainties that could moderate export growth. Inflation is also expected to remain manageable, with headline inflation projected between 2 and 3.5%, while core inflation is forecasted at 1.5 to 2.5% respectively. The central bank attributes this to easing global costs and stable domestic conditions. In 2024, Malaysia's economy grew by 5.1%, with a moderate inflation of 1.8%. BNM also noted that Malaysia's financial markets will remain resilient, ensuring the industry keeps pace with rapid changes. E-payment transactions saw a 19% increase in 2024, averaging at least 1 transaction per Malaysian per day. A rising HIV infection rate among men aged 20 to 39 in Malaysia has sparked serious concern. Deputy Health Minister Dato' Lukanis Manawang Sauni has attributed the trend to the you only live once or YOLO mentality, which encourages risk-taking and experimentation.
Lukanisman explained that young people, influenced by global trends and social media, are engaging in risky activities without fully understanding the potential consequences. According to 2024 data from the National AIDS Registry, 90% of HIV cases involve men, with 75% affecting those aged 20 to 39. While new cases have declined overall, there are still notable regional and ethnic disparities. Selangor saw the highest number of new cases, followed by Kuala Lumpur and Putrajaya. Lukanisman said this during a session at the Dewan Negara today.
We'll go for a quick break. Stay tuned for more.
Rambut gugur lagi? Macam mana Gunakan Pantene baharu dengan provitamin mikro yang meresap dan menguatkan rambut dari dalam. Rambut 10 kali lebih kuat terhadap rambut gugur. Pantene baharu. Dimasak seikhlas rasa. Air tangan insan istimewa. Masak bersama Harmoni Raya. Dapatkan resepi inspirasi di Maggi.my. Kerap menggaru kulit kepala disebabkan kelomomor, masalahnya lebih mendalam. Gunalah Head and Shoulders menembusi 5 lapisan untuk membasmi kelomomor dan kegatalan. Bebas kelomomor sehingga 100%. Head and Shoulders diuji secara dermatologi.
Assalamualaikum, Datuk. Kemeriahan mengukir ikatan kasih dan sayang.
Muka seronok diorang tu tak ternilai.
Setiap senyuman membawa kisah lain macam.
Buat lambat ke buat lambat?
Buat lambat Shishi buat. Shishi suka Alan.
Hubungan keluarga diduga.
Tak ada manusia kat dunia ni yang sempurna. Dugaan dia macam tu. Dan dia juga dugaan tak awak.
Keikhlasan menyembuhkan jiwa.
Mama awak ni kuat sangat tau.
Mestilah saya kuat sebab suami saya akan ada dengan saya.
Cinta menyatukan dua insan.
Saya tiap-tiap tahun takbir raya bersertakan niat untuk arwah ayah dengan arwah mak saya.
Rayakan dengan penuh pengharapan. Bahagia lain macam di Astro Ria dan Astro Go.
Welcome back. An Israeli airstrike at the Nasser Hospital in Han Yunis, Gaza on Sunday killed 5 people, including a Hamas political leader. This is according to Palestinian medics and Hamas in an attack Israel said had targeted a key figure in the group.
In the aftermath of the attack, Reuters footage showed the burnt exterior sign on the hospital's facade as people walked past on the street below the morning after. The Gaza Health Ministry said the Israeli strike hit the surgery department, while the Israeli military claimed that its attack followed extensive intelligence and used precise munitions to minimize harm at the site. Hamas said a member of its political office, Ismail Bahum, had been killed. The military did not name the target, which described only as a key terrorist in Hamas. However, Israel's defense minister, Israel Katz, confirmed the target was Bahum.
Australia is unlocking $1 billion in defence spending in tomorrow's federal budget to accelerate Australia's capability and development. This is according to Defence Minister Richard Marles.
And in the federal budget, there will be an increase in defence spending over the forward estimates of $10.6 billion. This is the most significant increase in defence spending in peacetime Australia since the end of the Second World War. Part of the $10.6 billion sees bringing forward an additional $1 billion, and that's because of the need to accelerate Australia's capability development. Well, what this will do is see us have ready HMAS Stirling, the Henderson Defence Precinct for the establishment of the Marine Rotation Force, the Submarine Rotation Force West. This will see us be able to move forward at a faster pace in establishing the Guided Weapons and Explosive Ordnance Enterprise.
The funds are part of 10.6 billion Australian dollars for defence spending over the next 4 years, which were part of a previously announced 50 billion Australian dollar boost over a decade. This is the most significant increase in defence spending since the end of the Second World War, Miles said.
In other news, Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney has called a snap election, sending the country to the polls on April 28th. It comes just 9 days after Carney was sworn into office following Justin Trudeau's resignation.
I have just requested that the Governor-General dissolve Parliament and call an election for April 28th. And she has agreed. We are facing the most significant crisis of our lifetimes because of President Trump's unjustified trade actions and his threats to our sovereignty.
Carney said he needed a clear and strong mandate to deal with the threats posed by Trump. The 60-year-old former governor of the Bank of England and Bank of Canada has never served as an MP and is untested politically. He is set to face Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre, whose party has been leading in national polls since mid-2023.
South Korea's Constitutional Court reinstated Han Duck-soo as acting president after he was suspended 3 months ago. Justices on the court ruled 7-1 to strike down his previous impeachment, with 5 of them saying there was not enough grounds to impeach Han as he did not violate the law or constitution.
Han thanked the court for what he called a wise decision, adding that he would focus on the fast-changing global trade environment in reference to US President Donald Trump's tariff policy. Han had taken over as acting leader last December when President Yoon Suk-yeol was suspended from duties after attempting to declare martial law. However, he only lasted 2 weeks in power before lawmakers voted to impeach him as well. The vote was triggered when Han blocked the appointment of new judges to the Constitutional Court. Since then, South Korea has been led by Deputy Prime Minister Choi Sang-mook.
Abu Dhabi's non-adherence to anti-Russian sanctions confirms the constructive relations between the presidents of the Russian Federation and the UAE, Vladimir Putin, and Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan. Ravil Gainuddin, chairman of the Spiritual Administration of Muslims of Russia, said this in Moscow recently. Meanwhile, UAE ambassador to Russia, Mohammad Ahmad Al-Jaber, said that the presence of representatives of different religions at the iftar demonstrates the strengthening of inter-ethnic ties in Russia. He added that this reflects their common commitment and belief in strengthening values and ties between nations and societies, which will contribute to their further well-being and prosperity. According to Tatarstan Mufti Kamil Samigulin, Russia and Muslims are linked by a long common history. Samigulin added that Islam in Russia is not foreign and Russia is not an enemy to Muslim countries and not an enemy to Islam. That wraps up AWANI tonight. Check out our web portal, keeping you informed on the critical events shaping our world, all in one place at international.astrawani.com. That's all for now. I'm Farhana Sheikh. Thank you for watching and good night.